Determining the objectives of the investigation. Investigating is to gather enough evidence to prove or disprove an allegation, suspicion, or another issue. An investigation results in a conclusion about what happened and what actions are appropriate in response. Enough evidence could be defined as evidence that, when examined by a competent and objective individual, would lead that individual to form the same conclusion as that made by the internal auditor. Forensic investigators are required to identify fraud indicators and discuss the need for auditors to be alert to significant risks to the company. It also requires periodic reporting of significant risk exposures to the board and senior management. The scope of an investigation will depend on the issue under review. The scope should be focused on those matters that will enable the internal auditor to form a supportable conclusion. Suppose an employee accuses a manager of sexually harassing employees. In that case, the investigation will focus partly on employees who may have been affected by the alleged harassing behavior. If an employee is accused of inflating expense reports, the scope of the investigation will include the employee's travel vouchers and the related controls over processing expense reports. Auditors should avoid broad investigations far beyond the original allegation or suspicion. Unfocused investigations will likely be viewed as a possible witch hunt, and the auditors will be perceived as out of control. An investigating auditor should be conscious that first appearances may be deceiving. An allegation of impropriety may be a smokescreen to divert attention. For example, a manager charged with harassment by an employee may have recently confronted that employee with evidence that she was cheating on her expense reports. On the other hand, the allegation may prove true despite the recent confrontation. Conclusions should not be reached until all the evidence has been gathered and analyzed. Sometimes a slight discrepancy may be a clue to a much larger defalsification. Let us look at this one example. At one company, the investigation of a seemingly inconsequential accounting error led to the discovery of an international computer hacker who had penetrated multiple militaries and research computers. Accordingly, chief audit executives need to exercise careful judgment in determining the scope of an investigation.